We did it again. We did it again. Arsenal won a game. We did it again. Come on. Okay, here we are. It is the day after New Year's, and the Arsenal, they generally like to get things going around the end of February, March, Super Kev. Welcome back to the squad.
Oh!
Okay, so you and I have got a fair bit to discuss here. The truth is, what an amazing win. And yes, it was against the worst team. Actually, Sheffield United are the worst team in the Premier League right now.
Hey, whoa, Sophie, can I just slow you down a little bit?
Oh, I love it when you slow me down and teach me.
Let me slow you down a little bit. This is the team that went to Man City and got a point. Mm-hmm. This is the team that went to Anfield and got a point. So I know there's going to be a lot of people saying it's only West Brom, but on their day, they can cause you problems. But we didn't allow it today. So fair play to the team.
Absolutely.
They played the conditions perfectly.
And let's be honest, Casey, Sam Allardyce has been a bit of one of those managers where in the past, especially during his time at Bolton, where he used to like to rub us up the wrong way a little bit. And everyone thought that once Sam Allardyce was appointed manager of West Brom, they would grind points here and there. It's been a real struggle for them. But the truth is, we went to West Brom. We don't generally like going to West Brom. It was snowing. It was cold. Kieran Tierney, Craig Burley, amazing tweet. He said, I think Kieran Tierney got his suntan lotion out before.
His sunblock. His sunblock, I think. Yeah, sunblock.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we go, we're always criticised for not being able to go to Stoke on a soggy Sunday or Saturday afternoon. But here we are going to West Brom, grinding out another win. That's 3 in a row now, Casey. I want to start at the very top with you. There was only one change made today. Martinelli came in. You and Amanda talked about resting Martinelli.
No, there was two changes.
Martinelli and Ceballos. Yes.
Ceballos came in for El Nene and Lacazette for Martinelli.
Okay, so can we start there a little bit? Can you tell me, do you think Ceballos and Xhaka are a better fit in midfield than El Nene? Or do you think it depends on who the opponent is?
Yeah, I think it's the opponent. I think today they knew they were going to get a lot of ball. And on the ball, Ceballos is better than El Nene. Let's be honest. So I just think that was an adjustment there. As I said to you previously, I think in the Kev Says or the last New Year one we done yesterday, I thought Martinelli looked a little bit leggy. And they have to protect him because he's been out a long time. He's played 3 games. And, you know, when you've been out, you start off high and then you start to come down a bit. So you've got to find your feet again. And I think Mikel Arteta managed it perfectly today.
I think so. And you and Amanda talked about resting Martinelli. I was all about whether he starts or he's rested for the second half or he's put, you know, absolutely has no say in this game whatsoever. I'd be fine with that too. He did the same thing with Bellerin and Holding when they came back from their injuries too, Casey. He morphed them into the team a little bit. All right, let's get started. So this is one of those games where there was a little touch of vintage Arsenal in there. And for me, we'll get to Saka because he's everything. But for me, the guy that was able to infuse the possibility of maybe playing like a little bit of vintage Arsenal and add in those nuances and touches and movement and intelligence off and on the ball is Emile Smith-Rowe. Super Kev, as a player, can you talk me through what it means to be starved of attacking force as a striker and then a player like him comes in and really has changed the momentum in the last 3 games?
Well, when there's no attacking creativity or a person who thinks first forward, that's the key. When you're striking, you need somebody to think forward first. But what happened previously, we never had that. We had people who fought safe first. So we were getting the ball and just keeping it while all the opposition players could just come back and bank up and say, come and break us down. But what Smith Rowe does, the ball comes into him, and I know we're going to get to the Saka goal, but I just want to talk about when the ball comes in and first time he knocks it around the corner and follows his pass. That is the hardest. One sec. That is the hardest. My hat fell down on the side. That is the hardest run in football to track because it happens so quick. You have to know kind of what's going through his mind, and then you have to react to it. He's a gem. He's a gem, Sophie. He's a gem. And you know what he's doing, Sophie? He's making sure he's undroppable, which is fantastic for a youngster.
And KC, as a seasoned veteran and as someone who's played with some of the greats, to see Arteta sub ESR and Saka tells you everything about what he thinks of them for the next game, doesn't it, Casey?
Well, you should be happy, Sophie, right? I know this is what you want me to say, so I'm going to say it, all right? Listen, you wanted the boys in, the boys have got in, and now the manager is taking them off to protect them, Sophie.
Can you believe that?
Listen, I believe it because I'm witnessing it. Let's be honest. They've been nothing short of sensational for us, Sophie. And fair play to the young talented kids. You know, they've come in and they're showing the experienced players. If you're not up to scratch, you're out.
And they've changed the energy completely of the entire squad. They've infused this youthfulness and this fearlessness, which I think they play with. Let's talk about you being a striker. We scored 4 goals. Let's just go to the goals because we scored 4 and they're very different, but yet a couple of them are the same. Individual brilliance from Kieran Tierney, who we have raved about over and over on this show. He just endeared himself even more so, KC, to the Arsenal fans. And finishing on his right foot.
Wow. Look, as individual goals go, I don't think you're going to see a better goal than that from a left back on his right foot. I mean, he's been brilliant of late, especially, and he's starting to come into his own. And do you remember what we were talking about, where when the team don't play well, you want players to step up. Now we're starting to play well. You're starting to see everybody join into the game. And look at that from Kieran Tierney. Fantastic. And you know what? So very difficult conditions as well. Very, very difficult.
To dribble the ball in that, because people don't realize how wet the turf is at that point. Okay.
And how heavy because of the snow. Yeah.
Right. And so you have to carry the ball, and you also have to be mindful of how's my touch going to be if I carry the ball. A little bit like a golfer when he's trying to putt, right, KC, when it's raining. It's a totally different discipline. All right, so that was an amazing first goal. Talk me through the second goal, and you know what you thought of the second goal.
I just thought that was such a special goal because of the movement, for one, the way it was constructed, and most of all, the execution. And you know what? That final pass from Emile Smith Rowe.
Oh, sweet.
It looked simple, Sophie.
But it wasn't, was it? Tell everyone why it wasn't
Sophie,
simple.
No, I'm going to tell you a comparison in the game where you understand. Do you know where Lacazette got down the line and Saka was in the middle and he could have just rolled it for the third?
Yeah.
He never done that.
He never done that, yeah.
Smith Rowe could have shot. He was in a better angle than Lacazette. But Smith Rowe, this is football brain.
Yes.
There you go, mate. Slip it to his pal, who actually started the move, was involved a couple of times, and burst into the box. I might score. You will definitely score. There you go. And he taps it in. Absolutely brilliant goal. Great movement. Lacazette plays a great... Smith Rowe plays a reverse pass. Couple of passes. Lacazette plays one round the corner to Smith Rowe. And what a fantastic pass. Key pass. Saka score, happy days.
I loved the touch points where ESR was involved in that goal, Casey. You hit it bang on. I mean, just when you thought it was a little Jack Wilshere-esque, to be honest, like one of those.
The way he plays around the corner.
Yes.
Jack,
yes.
That's what Jack was very good at. Balls come into him and he plays it around the corner. It's so hard to defend, I tell you.
And I think also, Casey, a lot of his Villa have Grealish, Man United have Rashford, Chelsea have someone like I tweeted, and we have Saka, but we also have ESR now. City have Foden.
And we have Martinelli.
And so I think that we've got this young intelligence coming through. But like you said, very important, Mason Greenwood might not be as bright as a footballer as Rashford. And I think you know what I mean about that. On the pitch, there's certain footballers that have this, they think 2 passes ahead or 2 plays ahead. And I know that you've played with players like that as well. And you yourself always thinking, what's my, not this move, what's my next move going to be? And it's a split second, isn't it, Casey? It's like 3.2 seconds you have in your mind to make those decisions. And Emile Smith-Rowe's decisions in that second goal, I just thought were just wonderful, just absolutely beautiful.
It's Sophie, you hear a lot of people talk about football intelligence, football brain. This is something you can't teach. You've either got it or you haven't, and that boy's got it. He's got it in abundance.
He does. And we've heard Righty talk about it as well.
Him and Saka
together.
They really have it, I tell you.
But also, KC, like how you and Righty played together. You loved each other off the pitch. You played really well together when you were on the pitch together, and even when you weren't. The support for each other. This is what I feel like ESR and Saka, they love each other. Him and obviously those two, but Martinelli's coming a little bit later. But these younger players, they have a bond. They have this uniqueness that maybe that Fergie 92 squad, some of the younger players that we've seen come through at other clubs, Casey. It's important. We've seen players that hate each other that can be formidable, like Teddy Sheringham and Andy Cole. But when you're young and coming through and you're playing with your friends and you're happy and you're fearless, this bodes well for the Arsenal, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does. It bodes well. Look, the first thing what we mentioned when Arteta came in was the culture. I think the culture of the club, these youngsters are blazing a trail. And look, earlier on in the season, before these 3 games, we were nitpicking, people saying about the dressing room, people talking about Arteta's lost it, he don't know what he's doing, they're not playing for him, etc., etc., etc. Now we move on 3 games, and I'm not saying we've actually turned the corner. I'm just saying now we're looking at a difference of mindset within the actual team. The same players have a different mindset. And it's because of that connection that these youngsters have. It's rubbing off on everybody else. So
it really is. And look, you guys, we saw how Bruno Fernandes, one player, has changed the fortunes of Manchester United and lifted not only his teammates, but a club. He's literally put that team on his shoulders. And whether you agree or disagree with his shithousery sometimes, Bruno Fernandes has completely elevated and changed Manchester United. And what we're seeing here at our club, we're not saying we're going on to win like trophies here. We're saying we're evolving, and we've evolved in 3 games, and that's what we've wanted to see, hasn't it, Casey? That can he make decisions? Can he make the changes? And when the players come in, do they take their chances? And currently they are doing that.
Sophie, we were 15th in the league and the fan base was in meltdown, right? And we know he's got to build something, but you rightly said as well, you correctly said, it's results business. And it is. So you still need to get results while you're building. I know it might not be great all the time, but you still need results. So we can't complain first when we're not getting results. And then when we do get results, people start saying, oh, but it's only West Bromwich Albion. Remember, we couldn't beat anybody a few weeks ago. So we've got to take this, accept it, and we kick on again because we got some winnable games. Of course we have, but we take 1 game at a time.
Absolutely. And you're right, Casey. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. 3 wins in a row. You're listening to the Highbury Squad with Super Kevin Campbell and myself, Sophie Nicolau. dominating against West Brom. That third goal, Casey, what did you make of goal number 3 against the Albion?
Well, I like the fact that we caught West Brom on the break. I love that fact. I like the fact Lacazette was obviously the right place, isn't he, for a ball bobbling around in the box. But it's the amount of players we get forward, which I like. I like the amount of players that we get running beyond the ball as well and causing West Bromwich Albion problems to keep up, especially even on a heavy pitch like it was. Thoroughly enjoyed the performance, I must say. And I know West Bromwich Albion aren't Chelsea, but we beat them as well. Do you know what I mean? We beat them. So if you bring them in front of us and we're winning, I'm happy. And
did you think the third goal was lucky, like Don won? Did you think it was a lucky goal, the third one? I'm not sure if it was a lucky goal. I just think that we caught them, and
we caught them on the break. And listen, when you put the ball in the back of the net, it doesn't matter. It's a goal. So whether you call it lucky, whether you call it fortunate, we got the rub of the green, the bounce. We take it because before we weren't getting it.
Yeah, exactly. And then goal number 4 goes in, and it's just one of those champagne moments, isn't it? And I'd like to talk to you and go back to one of the biggest talking points, I think, for us that maybe we'll agree and disagree on. Even though he didn't score today, what did you think of Aubameyang's performance? Because once again, Laka gets a brace. He finds himself in the right positions at the right times. Of course, playing down the middle, it's a little bit easier to do that. But the confidence that Laka is showing right now and the trust that players like Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka have in Laka, I think is really key. So how did you see Aubameyang today, Casey? He had some chances, and again, he wasn't able to convert.
Yeah, look, I think Lacazette is going through, obviously, a difficult time right now. And he's just got to play himself through it. Because when the team are winning, this is the time where you play yourself through it. When the team are losing, that's when people are going to say, oh, you should be out of the team. He's had a stint out of the team. He's back in the team now. The team are winning. He played okay. It was like par. He was average today. It wasn't great. I think he was desperate for a goal. But things ain't falling for him at the moment. And sometimes, you know what, Sophie? That happens. That really does happen for you as a striker. It falls to your mate or it falls to someone else and it does fall to you. This is how it goes sometimes. And as you quite rightly said, we are evolving. We're evolving. So, the likes of Aubameyang is going to have to up his game. He's going to have to get back on form, and he's going to have to get back on form quickly because Lacazette's blazing the trail.
So what do you think? Because this is Don Juan's, but I've put a few of them up on the screen. And as a striker, I know that there's been times in your career where you've been frustrated too, Casey. And there were times today where it felt like Aubameyang was kind of throwing his toys out the pram a little bit. As a striker, is that something where it's just desperate kind of I want to do better versus,
Toys out the pram, Soph. I have to disagree with that. Yeah, no, listen, I disagree with that statement. Okay. I think he's not going to be happy. Listen, any striker who's playing, who's not scoring, he's not going to be happy because that's what he does. That's what Aubameyang does. Aubameyang's a striker and he's a killer striker. But unfortunately, he's got no bullets in his gun right now. So listen, what we have to do, keep giving him that platform. Hopefully, when it really matters, he's going to come up trumps for us and kick on. Okay.
So I think generally we weren't really challenged at the back, were we today, Casey? So there's not, although Bellerin seemed to have a poor game today. Can we talk about that just a little bit and maybe what you did see at the back at the times when we were a little bit?
Well, one thing I will say is a lot of the time, Rob Holding, Bruno Mari, etc., dealt with whatever was coming in the box because they were putting us in our box. Make no mistake about it. But I think the way Rob Holding defended, the way Pablo Mari, who I think is making Rob Holding look a lot better because
I said that
he's
to you in the
calm.
last pod, didn't I?
No, I know, but I'm saying he's making him look calmer.
Mm-hmm.
There's no rush on him because I think that Pablo Mari he's a calm player. He's very good on the ball. He's very technical and he's a good passer. But I think that partnership just seems to be a nice calm. When it comes in the box, they clear it. They don't do anything too fancy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they do what they're supposed to do, and that's their job, Sophie. And they don't. Yeah, Bellerin, maybe he was carrying a little something, Sophie. I'm not too sure because he came off pretty early. And
well, he had the yellow card, didn't he? And I don't think that Arteta wanted to take any risks at that time. He's already been suspended. He racked up the yellow cards. He got another yellow card. And I don't think that he kind of wanted to fall into a 10-man game at that point,
but
even
I
though
didn't
there was
think he
no
had a
threat.
Yeah, I didn't think he had a great game, but he didn't have a terrible game. But I just thought he was average as well, if I'm honest with you. You know, no foul throws, which is good.
Yeah, so. And I agree with you. Last time we talked about, you know, Rob Holding playing with a really smart footballer like he did with Mertesacker. No pace on Mertesacker, but intelligence and positioning. And Mari definitely seems to have that. And one of the questions that's coming in for you thick and fast on the chat here, Casey, is we've won 3 games in a row without Gabriel and Partey, 2 of our best signings in years, you could argue. What's your take? Of course, those 2 come right back into the team, we're assuming. But once you start winning a few games and you get this confidence in the team, what do you do with Partey and Gabriel once they're ready to come back?
Well, for me, you start integrating them from the bench. You know, it all depends on what happens because, you know, there's a lot of games you could switch it in the FA Cup or whatever. You know, you could do it like that. But the bottom line is, 2 of your best players have to play eventually. Yeah. You know, we're talking about who's going to partner Partey. So what's the point having him on the bench if you're going to, you know, slowly but surely, early on, fair enough, you could put him on the bench, but he's too good to keep on the bench. Yeah. Because if there was one criticism of Arsenal today, we didn't control the midfield enough for me. I say that because, yeah, we beat West Bromwich Albion 4-0, and they ain't great. But they controlled good spells of that game for too much as far as I'm concerned. We should have been dominating that game, and it should have been 4-5-6.
KC, I agree with you because would you agree with me in that I think we controlled the game on the flanks versus in the midfield?
Yeah, definitely. Down the wings, definitely we controlled the game. But through the middle, I thought Sawyer's done okay for them. I didn't think, I mean, Xhaka was moaning for quite a few free kicks at times, and it was just from contact, you know, and he was never going to get it. So I just think, you know, I still think we're a bit soft in that midfield. And against a better team, you know, we'll be in trouble.
So what about the fact that Mari, what do you think about, Don, I think Don's saying this too, 2 left-footed defenders is never a good idea. But at the same time, I think what we do now have for Arteta is options. You know, he's finally seen the landscape. We've got Kolasinac who's gone to Schalke. Hopefully there'll be a few more other players cleared out here in January, KC. We've got Newcastle next in the FA Cup in the 3rd round. I'm sure we're going to be, you know, seeing a lot of players to be rested ahead of the next game after that on the 14th, which is at home to Crystal Palace. But at least, you know, as we're seeing this team evolve, especially over the last 3 games, the injection and the energy these young players have added into the mix here. Arteta now, do you feel like his mind's open a little bit more perhaps and he's seeing what's in front of him, despite the fact that he says that he has his January transfer plan set in stone?
What do you mean by mind open?
Like, for example, maybe he wasn't really thinking about integrating Emile Smith-Rowe, but he had to because of the lack of creativity. Perhaps he wasn't really thinking about Martinelli, but he had to because of the suspensions and the injuries, and then Bellerin and Xhaka being suspended. And
do you want me to say it? Do you want me to say it? Sophie. Sophie, we've been through this already, my darling. We've been through. Listen, he didn't have to pick them. So let's just accept it. He didn't have to pick them, but he did. So whether it was forced on him or finally he saw the light, he did. And I know there was many fans worried about this team today, thinking he's going to drop Smith Rowe, he's going to drop Martinelli, he's going to change it all, but he didn't. Because now, as I said before, he has the right pros around them now, the right experience around these boys. And now, as I've said to you, he's taken them off to protect them. So that is massive for Arsenal.
Yeah. It really is. And Junior Alphonse, we always love watching Casey too. Thank you, Taib, and thank you to everybody in chat who's joining us post game. We've won another game, you guys. That's 3 in a row for the Arsenal. I'm going to look at the Premier League table right now, unless you know off the top of your head, KC, but
I could get it right here.
I do believe that now we find ourselves in 11th position, right behind West Ham.
Yes, we're in 11th right now. On 23 points.
On 23 points. So we're 3 points behind 10th. And as we've seen in this league and how unpredictable things are, there is really absolutely still a chance. You know, I mean, look, we're only, 6 points behind Tottenham. Is that right?
Look,
are we 6 points behind Tottenham?
Yeah, 6 points.
We're 6 points from top 4.
But they've got a game in hand on us. We've played 17.
Okay, so they have a game in hand. But
yeah, well, you still got to win it. So, look, we're 6 points off third.
Which is insane considering everyone was talking about relegation just 3 weeks ago.
It's mad. It's crazy.
And this is the league that we're living in this year, Super Kev, is that, you know, we're seeing top teams drop points. Look at Liverpool drop points against Newcastle and West Brom. You know, we've seen City struggling this year, but they're clawing their way back. Look at Manchester United. Somehow they found themselves joint top, and Ole has been under the gun, a little bit like Mikel Arteta. So I've been hoping that Mikel's going to be able to turn this around a little bit like Ole has. I don't think we have the same talent as Man United.
Sophie, I tell you what today helped with our goal difference. Goal difference is probably going to be key moving forward because...
So we're level now, Casey?
We're +1. And
+1.
There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 or 5 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 teams on 26 points.
Okay.
And we've got the worst goal difference. West Ham have 3. Southampton have 6. Man City have 9. Aston Villa have 13. And Chelsea have 13.
This was huge then today.
Yeah.
Absolutely
really
huge.
Important. Yeah.
Really important. And it's going to be just as important in the games coming up. We've got Crystal Palace, we've got Newcastle, we've got Southampton, and then it gets a little bit tougher as it goes on with Man United. Wolves, a little bit more depleted, gave away a 3-1 win to Brighton today. So not the same Wolves as they were last year either. Okay, so you guys, here's what we're going to do next. We usually do player ratings, but I'm going to say across the board today, unless you have a really poor performance, Casey, the team did really well. Would you agree with that?
Well. Yeah, the team done well.
Was there anyone you were disappointed in?
Look, I always expect more from Aubameyang, if I'm honest. And I thought he was average. I thought he was out of 10, he was a 5, average. And I thought Bellerin was a 5. But I thought the rest of them were 7s and 8s, to be honest. And obviously the 2 kids were like 8.5s, 9s. They were sensational.
They were unbelievable. They bossed that.
Yeah, they were sensational.
They bossed it. KC, are you here? Let me ask you this. As a striker, if you're in this kind of form, would you want the manager to play you in the FA Cup 3rd round against Newcastle, or would you want him to drop you?
Every game.
Right. So you think Oba should play that game and Arteta should pick
strongest team. FA Cup, you play your strongest team. You got a week to prepare. You know, you until the next game. you play your strongest team. And also, if he's going to play the kids, I want to play. Because
you can score.
Because it's no point putting our hottest striker with players who were trying to find form. No, you play your hottest striker with the boys who give him the opportunities to score. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he had some chances tonight and he still couldn't finish them. And I think Arteta's really just trying to squeeze it out of him, and he's going to keep putting him out there until he gets a goal. And I think that's kind of evident if he's fit. But can we just switch to Lacazette for a little minute? Because Oba was the undeniable best player of Arsenal last season. Saved us, 1 goal shy away of the Golden Boot. Incredible what he was able to do. Was
FA Cup,
integral in the FA Cup and a driver there, Casey. Lacazette this season has also been a bit of a scapegoat. He's been benched. He's come off the bench. He's a little bit like a heavyweight fighter on the ropes. Somehow tries and finds a way to
gone down. He's had to pick himself off the floor.
Talk to me about him a little bit, Casey, just for a minute, because I'm so impressed with his tenacity, to be honest with you.
Well, the thing is, Lacazette always gives 100%. And it doesn't always work out for him on the pitch. And there have been games where, he's missed quite a few chances. But that is the lot of a striker, I'm afraid. You know, he isn't as gifted in front of goal as Aubameyang is, but he's a better all-round player with his back to goal than Aubameyang is. So I think he is, we keep mentioning Roberto Firmino at Liverpool. He's our Firmino. A lot of the time, he doesn't get appreciated. But you could see with those kids, he knows exactly what they're going to do. He's on their wavelength, playing round corners and playing balls into them and getting balls back. He's on their wavelength. And I think he's in for a big, big season if we can keep these youngsters going.
Do you think you've played with youngsters before? You've seen them come in and out of teams when you've been more of the veteran and seasoned player and captain at Everton and West Brom. And do you think Martinelli comes in for Oba in the next game? Do you keep Oba playing? Do you bring Martinelli right back in? What do you do? Because clearly Saka, ESR, Martinelli, Tierney, they have this superb understanding. What do you do, Casey, if you're manager?
Your manager, you see how Martinelli, how does he feel? You know, because you could always shuffle the pack. That's what he's got at his disposal now. He can shuffle the pack. You know, Martinelli, are you ready? He says he's ready. You got to find a place for him, Sophie. You've got to, because it's no point him sitting on the bench when he could be ready to go to get more minutes in his legs. So for me, you know, you could always bring an Aubameyang on, definitely. But if Saka and Smith Rowe play, it's perfect for Martinelli to play. Yeah.
And also another clean sheet, which is really important, isn't it, for Leno's confidence and the back line, and especially as Mari's come in, who's supposed to be substituting for a David Luiz or a regular starter, Casey. That's massive, isn't it?
Of course. Listen, you know, when you get clean sheets, that's a victory for the defenders and the goalkeeper. So they've got, in what were really big games for us, Sophie, at this time and this position, what we've been in, these were big games because these are kind of 6-pointers for us. To get no goals against, you know, to get no goals against, score 5 goals, win 2 games is huge for us. And then obviously beating Chelsea was great. But these games coming up now are going to be the important ones. Can we build quickly? Can we build that momentum to a point where if we're bringing in a player, he can slot right in and feel the energy? So that's what we don't want. We don't want any disjointed bits.
We don't. And this is a good question because it's come from a few people. Emma's, is Pepe done now? Willian came on with 20 minutes to go. I think, you know, as the season goes on, they're bench players now.
That's the bottom line. They're bench players because the youngsters they're blazing a trail. Simple as that. They are blazing a trail, and it is music to our ears as Arsenal fans for these young, gifted, talented young footballers to come in and be showing the experience. This is how you do it.
No,
This is how you do it. You sit on the bench and watch.
Yeah.
And then you substitute me when the game's over.
Amazing.
And you rest me up, rest me up with a bottle of cocoa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bless them. Yeah.
I was so, you're listening to the Hybrid Squad here with Super Kevin Campbell. We are on air for another 10 minutes. Thanks to all of the 300 plus in live chat joining us. We are very grateful that you're choosing to spend your Saturday evening or morning, no matter where you are in the world. The good news is the Arsenal win another game. That's 3 in a row right now. Arteta infusing some new energy into the side. Saka, ESR, Tierney, Martinelli in the last game too. We've seen that carry through. Lacazette leading by example at the front, and Holding and Mari doing really well together at the back. Leno not too troubled today. And Kieran Tierney, everyone keeps talking about future captain material, scoring an individual goal that might go down as one of Arsenal fans' favourites so far, KC, in the league. So let's talk about a couple other things before we go. We won the game. We go into an FA Cup match. You say start your best team. We do have a hectic schedule ahead. Who are you resting against Newcastle? Who are you protecting?
Well, I think
in the FA Cup?
Well, I want to win. I want to win, and now we've got a little bit of momentum. I don't want to mess up that momentum, because you know what, Sophie? If you take your foot off the gas, the next time you put your foot on the gas, the engine might not be on. You know what I mean? So you're pumping, you're revving. Next minute you take your foot off the gas, you go away. Next minute you try to go, and we can't go. I'd play as strong a team as we can. Could you integrate Gabriel? Possibly, of course you could, but that then takes Mari out of the side, or Rob Holding out of the side, or whatever. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't.
KC, you've been in. Can you help me understand this too? Like, is it a case now where maybe last season Oba and Laka, Pepe, some of these other guys were the leaders of the team? Do you feel like there's a shift in power right now, where really, for me, this is Saka's team right now? And no, it is.
No, Soph. No, it's
Why?
not. It's not.
Why?
Because he's done nothing yet.
Well, he's done everything so far this season.
No, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. What I mean is, Saka is going to take this team over. Right? He is. But right now, let's not put that on him. He's doing his bit 100%. But let's not put all that on him, because I'm
not putting it on him. It's happening organically.
You are. But you're saying but you're saying it's his team. It's not his team. But it will be his team. I'm not saying it won't be, but just not yet.
I think the substitutions today lead me to believe that Arteta is ready to not hand the baton over to ESR as much as maybe he is Saka right now. But those substitutions were very indicative of what he's thinking going forward. And the reason why I ask is because they're bossing it by default. They're not even, they're just playing fearless football. And by default, I feel like they're becoming the new face of Arsenal. I think you could, if I'm the marketing person at Arsenal, am I still marketing on Aubameyang and Lacazette? Yes, of course, I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be utilizing my most famous players. However, if I'm marketing to Arsenal fans, I'm using ESR, Saka, Martinelli, Tierney, an evolution, if you like, that shows that Arsenal are moving in a different direction. But the difference is, KC, is they're doing it on the pitch as well. And they've been the difference in the last 3 games. They've changed the energy and the direction.
Sophie, You know as well as I do, being in the States, you've got your franchise guys.
Yep.
Your franchise guys are there. But then you've got your draft picks that are coming up. They've been in the practice squad and they've been coming up, and all of a sudden they're starting to shine. These guys are starting to shine. And it is a natural takeover. But we've got 3 of them. We've got at least 3 of them. Tierney 4. What a fantastic raft of youngsters we've got to move up to that level. It should be an exciting time for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta's going to bring that natural age of the squad down because he has to. Once he does that, you got a young, vibrant, energetic team. That's what we need, Sophie. These youngsters are proving themselves right now, but the pieces that Mikel Arteta adds has to be of the right age, has to be of the right mindset, buy into the culture, and have the right energy for Arsenal. Once they got that, we're going to be all right.
Okay. And we definitely don't want to go into a Wilshere situation where, we thought he was going to be the best thing since sliced bread. And unfortunately, injuries hindered Jack Wilshere from reaching his true potential. His talent didn't, you guys. Let's just be really clear about that. Jack Wilshere was a very talented footballer who was also
exceptionally talented. Yeah.
Looked at as England, the team to build around, even at England. Hit the like button if you like us and you dig us and you're enjoying the conversation. And if you're not, that's all cool as well. We will still be friends. You're listening to the Highbury Squad here, post-game West Brom. We've got just 5 more minutes left here with Super Kev. So you guys can put all your ratings in the chat and we'll take a look at those and we'll put them up on the chat as well. We're going to move on just real quick because I did want to get Casey's take on this. I don't want to bring up the O word, especially after we've won 3 games in a row, but it is a big story. And Liam Brady is one of a hero for many, many Arsenal fans and an absolute legend of the club.
My favourite player back in the day.
Super Kev, maybe the best number 7.
Was my favourite player back in the day when I was first going to Arsenal.
And you've met him and spent time with him and you know him.
Top guy,
he's come out and made comments about Ozil. Can you talk us through this a little bit, Casey, from your point of view, and especially if you know Liam as a human being?
Easy. If anyone's qualified to talk about it, it's him. Left foot, playmaker, someone who was a difference maker in the team, flair, great attitude. Dropped a pass on a dime, had vision. He can do it all. And obviously what he's seeing, he was asked the question, and what he's seeing, and remember, Liam Brady's kind of old school. Yeah, he's kind of old school. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to be the top man, you've got to be the top man. That's the impression I was getting from Brady. If you're going to be the highest paid and the king of Arsenal as the top player, you've got to be the top player. You can't have anybody questioning your attitude. You can't have anybody questioning whether you're going to train, whether you're going to play, your attitude. You can't have any of that. And that's the impression I got what Liam was talking about, that this is supposed to be the top guy at Arsenal, highest paid player. Mm-hmm. I have been that player, and you don't cut the mustard. Basically, that's what he's saying. You don't cut it, and you don't fool Brady because he's been there. Brady knows,
right?
He knows, Sophie. So, look, Liam Brady's been top man and was the best player at Arsenal in his day. Mesut Ozil, talent-wise, has been the top player at Arsenal. But that's where the comparison stops. Because nobody could question Liam Brady's attitude. Nobody. But obviously, different managers have questioned Mesut Ozil. So that's the comparison. That's the level that you have to look at. And Liam Brady's been at that level.
He certainly has. And let's not forget, back in the day, transfers like Liam Brady to Juventus didn't really happen often, did they, Casey?
Oh, you listen, to go to Italy then,
was huge.
You had to be some player. You had to be some player. I'm telling you, because all the best players in the world were going to Italy.
Yep, that was the league to play in back then,
That
you guys.
that was the league.
Yeah, it might not be the same right now, but it definitely was the league to play in back then, especially when, you think about some of the players, from, even we could list them. We should just go boom, 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 boom.
One passed away, Paolo Rossi. You look
Paolo
at
Rossi.
Gentile.
Yep.
Marco Tardelli. Dino Zoff.
Yep.
These are legendary players. These are top players who obviously won a World Cup and performed for the best clubs. So for Liam to go out there and perform and be a star out there,
amazing.
Everything.
Yeah. And even that era with Van Basten and Gullit and the Dutch influence in Italian football, Fabio Capello's dominance as well as a manager, and even Carlo Ancelotti. If you haven't seen Carlo play, go back.
He was a top player. Carlo Ancelotti was a top player.
Videos on YouTube. Okay. 1 minute overtime, KC. I promised you 45 minutes. This is it. This is the West Brom Arsenal post-game show. West Brom 0, Arsenal 4. We're going to be doing some transfer stuff this week. It's going to be a long month, you guys. Batten down the hatches. The good news is we've seen Kolasinac leave, and hopefully KC, as we said on the show the other night, he's the first of a few, as long as we're also going to be dovetailing that with bringing some folks in as well, right? Can't ship everybody out at the same time.
Yeah, we need some more quality to come in, especially in that midfield. I'm not impressed with our midfield at the moment. I'll be honest with you. So obviously Partey's got to come back, but I think we need some more. We need more.
And I'm going to get your take on that. I think one of our Kevin Says segments this week might be on, the Dortmund player we're looking at. We're looking at Isco potentially, a couple of plays at Norwich. We're going to be looking at that a little bit more this week, and then we'll see how it all unfolds. I think one of the things Arsenal have seen is that they do have some talent in their own backyard that they can call on, KC. And
100%.
And how we manage that January transfer window, knowing that we can utilize them going forward, I think is key. And the leadership they've shown is unbelievable. And as a seasoned player, I think it gives you so much pride, doesn't it, to just see them leading the line. Unbelievable.
Well, I just think they're I wouldn't say leadership. I'd say they're blazing a trail, because they're too young to be leaders, if that makes sense. They're just going out there and they're just playing football.
Mm-hmm.
They're going out there and they're playing football and they're making it happen. So in a way, that's leadership because they're doing it, yes. But the leadership that we needs to come from those experienced players.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what? We're starting to get a little bit now. I think Pablo Mari and Holding have been good at the back. Jacques has been okay, but in the revolution, he won't be there as far as I was concerned. Ceballos was good on the ball today. Aubameyang, the captain, was average today, if we're honest. But I think Lacazette's really stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, he really has. And we'll get to all of your comments. I know a lot of you saying no, Isco, and Ceballos is going back to Madrid. We're going to get to that. We're going to have plenty of time, you kids, to talk about that this week. That's for sure. All right, so it's been another good start to the new year for the Arsenal. We get the win. That's 3 in a row. We're crawling up the table, KC, not climbing up the table.
What we want the element of surprise, Sophie. We just keep quiet and we keep winning, and before you know it, is that where Arsenal are? That's what we want.
Exactly. People all of a sudden be like, oh my God, Arsenal could actually make top 4.
Well, we can. We definitely can, but
I know. We'll keep it quiet. We'll definitely keep it quiet. Well, what do you have planned for the rest of the weekend, Casey? You just chilling? You got more work? What's happening with you?
Yeah, I've got a little bit of work on, but I'm just going to be chilling. To be fair, well, Sophie, can't do anything. We're on lockdown. So
I know.
can't do anything.
You know what that means? That means that we're going to have to probably come out with the Lockdown Series 2. Right. So we did volume 1. I think volume 2 is going to be coming out pretty soon. Casey and I are planning a really cool show as well. We're going to have a fun roundtable, an interesting roundtable with players talking about retirement. And that's going to be an interesting conversation, part of our Inside the Dressing Room series. I've always wanted to get inside the mind of players to talk about when they know that time's coming and it's tick tock in the biological clock, how that feels. Footballers retire a lot sooner than most of us. And sometimes I think that goes unnoticed when you have to reinvent your career and reinvent the wheel. So, KC, I look forward to chatting about that with you and some other players. It's going to be a good one.
Definitely.
All right, KC. Until then, you and I will be back probably in the week.
Probably
sometime.
Monday, I think. Monday, yeah.
We'll be back. Thanks to everyone who joined us in chat. A good group of you today, 300 plus. Fierce army for the Highbury squad. We so appreciate you and your time spending that with us Saturday evening, Saturday morning, no matter where you are in the world. Until Monday, tell them, Casey.
Come on, you Gunners, all the way.